9 suspects involved in the robbery and kidnapping of rapper Gucci Mane have been arrested. Officials say the alleged ringleader behind the attack was rapper Pooh Shiesty. Our Briseda Olguin has been on top of this story and has the latest.
Nah, something about this one feels different. There's a moment, and if you've been watching this for long enough, you realize instantly when something stops feeling random and starts feeling like a pattern. This is one of those moments. Because what you're seeing right now with Pooh Shiesty isn't just another headline. This is layers. Allegedly, the whole situation traces back to a studio in Texas, where things didn't just get tense, they escalated. We're talking about reports about contract disputes, pressure to get out of a deal, chains, money, control, and all the other stuff that usually stays behind the scenes. And then you start to see the other side of it. Speculation about millions tied up in incarceration, questions about how deals were structured, who benefited, who didn't. Now this is where things get different. Because according to prosecutors, this isn't just industry drama. This is being framed as an organized situation. A federal complaint, kidnapping and robbery charges, allegations of a weapon being involved, and the detail that makes you stop. They're saying he never even took the ankle monitor off. And when I first saw all this, it wasn't even confusion. It was just like, nah, I've seen this before. Not the exact situation, but the pattern. For anybody who needs the context, Memphis artists signed to 1017 under Gucci Mane came back with real momentum. Back in blood everywhere, mixtapes dropping, Shiesty season. The run was real. Then the case, 5 years. He comes home, he drops new music, and looks like he's picking right back up where he left off. And now, 6 months later, here we are again. And you can already see how this is playing out. Fans picking sides, old tensions getting pulled back into the spotlight, people bringing up history, Gucci Mane, Jeezy, past situations. Like this is all another chapter in something bigger. That's exactly the problem, because the conversation always stays there. Who's right, who's wrong, who did what, and nobody really stops and looks at the pattern underneath it, the cycle, where it gets built up, played out in real time, and then broken down after the damage is all done. And instead of calling it 10 different things, there's only one way to describe it: Crashout culture. Not just one artist, not just one situation, a system that keeps producing the same ending, making a cycle that never changes. And if you actually slow it down and look at it clearly, this has been repeated for years. Same rise, same exposure, same outcome. And I think it's time we really break it down. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and let's get back into it. So here's where it actually gets serious, because this isn't random. The alleged victim, Gucci Mane, from someone from his own label. And that alone tells you this isn't just street level noise. This is about business, this is about contracts, money, and control. Now, we don't have every detail of what happened behind closed doors, but we do have a pattern. And when you look at 1017 over the years, it hasn't been exactly stable. First, Big Scar, gone. Forgiano, back in. Enchanting, tragic overdose. Multiple artists come in and something goes left.
When I look at my P&L and me being a businessman, I think that I'm gonna have to release almost all my artists except for Pooh Shiesty and Forgiano. This is a decision I didn't want to make. I thought about it, you know what I'm saying? I could keep all of them under the contract, but I said, hey, fuck it. Let's just make the unselfish decision and, let them take their talents elsewhere. So.
And when you add Pooh Shiesty to that list, but this situation specifically is deeper than label history. According to what's been reported, this goes back to a studio meetup in Texas, midday. Gucci pulls up with his people, and from there, everything shifts. Prosecutors are calling this organized, not random, not spontaneous. There's a 32-page federal complaint attached to this. Surveillance footage, call logs, location tracking. They were saying he was identified because he kept his ankle monitor on. Same Hellcat seen in videos, linked right back to the scene. And it doesn't stop there. They're alleging Items taken, jewelry, cash, people involved, not strangers, people he knew, people around him. His father mentioned, Big 30 named. Kidnapping, robbery, federal case. And then you're seeing smaller details come out that make it even crazier. Co-defendants allegedly tracked through Instagram, air tags used to recover items. Some of the people involved couldn't even afford a way back home. And that's not just sloppy, that's a collapse. And this is where the conversation usually goes left. People start arguing sides, picking narratives, turning it into entertainment. But the real question is simpler than that. What are you actually getting out of this? Because when you look at how these situations play out, not just here, but over and over again, the ending is almost always the same. Momentum, attention, money coming in, and then one decision or one situation wipes out all of it. Not just for one person, but for everyone around them. That's when it stops being just a case. That's when it becomes a pattern you can't ignore. So where does this actually leave him? 5-year sentence, then early release, out for a few months, and now potentially right back in a federal situation. And it's the part that people skip, not the charges, not the headlines, but the timing. Because the industry doesn't wait. While you're gone, everything moves. Artists pop up, sounds change, audiences move on. So when you come back, you're not picking up where you left off, trying to catch up to something that's already replaced you. And from everything we've seen, he's just starting to rebuild that momentum. Music moving, attention coming back, and now all that gets put on hold again.
Okay, here we are. Yeah, I'd be mad too if a motherfucker won't let me out my contract. I'm in a situation right now where I want to hit a Pooh Shiesty on a motherfucker. Y'all painting a picture out to make it seem like everybody just like it's a curse with Gucci. There ain't no curse with Gucci. Everybody chose their own fate when it came to 1017. And I'm speaking for everybody because I don't have nobody here to speak for themselves. And 2 of my goddamn label mates is gone. Chant gone. Scar gone. I don't even know where the fuck Roboy at. Y'all got so many opinions, but y'all don't even know that Fujiano and Pooh Shiesty and Scar was beefing with Gucci the entire time. It was the back and forth of who leaving the label and who want to stay and come back and give me your chain, or no, you can have your chain. Like, it was a lot of that shit going on. Why? It ain't even about reading your contract. It's not about none of that shit. It's not about none of that shit. At the end of the day, everybody wanted respect. That's why Channing left. She didn't like what was going on. There was really no team with 1017 to where we had people that was really there, that was guiding us. It was just like all the calls was coming from everybody that they was putting in charge, and a lot of people that was in charge shouldn't have been in charge over there at Atlantic. And that's the real issue.
And it's not just him. Look at how this spreads. People around him also facing charges. Same situation, same consequences. This is how it always plays out. It's never just one person. And when you line it all up, the rise, the setback, the comeback, and this again, at some point you gotta ask, how many times does this story repeat before we stop acting surprised? Because at the end of the day, this isn't about one situation. It's about what keeps happening after the success. You get the momentum, you get the spotlight, you get the opportunity, and then something pulls you right back down every time. And nobody says that part out loud. None of the image, none of the reputation, none of that helps you when it's a federal case. It doesn't pause anything, it doesn't protect anything, it just stops everything. And that's the part people don't see coming, even though it keeps happening the same way. But I'm curious to see where you land on this. Is this just another situation, or is it a pattern playing out again? Because if you've been paying attention, I know you've seen this before. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading all of it. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tapped in. I'll see you in the next video.